But before you get to the response, Reed, do you have any direct question you want to ask her? She's going to respond to everything you said, but do you have any
Okay.
direct question you want to ask her once she responds to everything that you just laid on the table?
Yeah. If she could, okay, you know what? I got one. I got one. What I would like to ask, what exactly does the modern black woman have to offer a traditional black man? That's my initial question there. Go ahead.
All right, Reese. So I know you're going to have to Mac for a little bit because you got a lot to respond to and you got a question. So go ahead,
My
girl. The floor is
my
yours. The floor is yours.
my whole head is exploding between him and the comments. I don't know what's worse. The modern women versus traditional women. I don't really know if I have the answer for all of those women. I know personally, in my experience with women, that we are dynamic. We don't fall into these categories. I know women who make well over six figures, very sophisticated women who, when we go out, we drink and we twerk together. And we go home and go back to work and don't wear weaves. This is all my hair. And um, I don't even go and get my nails done. I buy nails at the store. Um, I don't know how to help a man to realize that if he is coming across women that are not of his liking, that's his fault. I don't know how to make him see that, because in my circles, the like I said, the men and women that I spend my time with, we do not fit in these Pookie Ray Ray categories. We're all intellectuals. We're all forward thinkers. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all highly paid people. We're all of us are doing advanced work in the community. All of us have high value. So I can't relate, to be quite honest with you. Um, the Kevin Samuels community, the people that even listen to that jargon, it lets me know that that person's mind is looking for leadership that they don't personally have within themselves. Because to have a Kevin Samuels preaching to you and telling you where to place your value and how to quantify your value, it speaks volumes about where you already feel your value is at, if you're looking for those type of social cues to find it. There is no way I would ever personally go to a social media platform of all places to host and embody a discussion about personal value and self worth in my real, actual life and relationships. So, modern women, traditional women, I don't see that there is a divide there. I think traditional women have modern ways, and I think modern women have traditional values as well. Like I said, it just depends on where you're going and what type of women are you associating yourself with. If you find yourself not being appreciated by a woman who you consider to be high value, that is something you need to look in the mirror and figure out why. Because if a high value woman is unattainable to you to the point where all you have been able to experience is these women that are out here twerking and having babies by anybody that comes along, that lives on welfare, has no ambition, we're describing a community of men and women when we speak on that part of society. We're not talking about just black women. And so somebody on here said that I think it was our brother Reed said that I said a man doesn't deserve respect if he doesn't work for it. And that idea is, again, it makes my head explode, because I did not say that. I said that they create an environment where their woman can respect them. Now, in our relationships, in this low vibrational subculture of our people, you see a lot of arguing going on between men and women. Once again, I can use myself as an example. I don't argue with people in my circle. There's not one man. in my life that I'm going to have a full-fledged argument with. I'm not doing it. I don't have enough time to do it. So the idea that a man would shun away from or shy away from the work that it takes to create an environment of respect is again what I'm talking about when I say this is disgraceful. How can a person expect to be respected where they have not laid the foundation for that to occur? I cannot imagine a grown man saying, I want to be respected, but why should I have to earn it? What do you expect? This is the question that I'm trying to get to. If a man is not creating, like for example, if a man approached me today as an entrepreneur, as a woman who is a forward thinker, as a woman who is planning for my future and taking steps every day to solidify my future, and if a man came to me and he had no job, he had no ambition, he had no plan, he had nothing to offer besides his physical body or maybe a couple dollars out for dinner, he would not be able to grasp my attention. Most of the time, um, there is no ability for a man to even be in that pool of women that he is talking about. He doesn't see. You probably don't see them because they don't see you, and that's your problem. That's not the woman's problem. Um, there was another point that was made about holding people accountable. Like, do leaders hold their subjects or the people that are following them accountable? Um, this is it's very interesting that first of all, that somebody would want to hold someone else accountable before they want to hold themselves accountable for what is happening. In my personal journey of growth and development and learning who Sharice is, what do I have to offer the man in my life or the child that I'm raising or the community that I'm a part of every day? I'm not going around looking for other people to tell, I want you to live by my standards. I want you to do this and do that. I don't want you to be here, be this. I don't want you to look like this. I don't want you to dress like that. Instead of me looking in the mirror and saying, Sharice, cover your body. Sharice, speak kindly to other people. Sharice, don't argue with people who don't see what you're trying to say. Just allow yourself to move on and be happy. I'm not going to go and look for accountability that I can hold on other people. I'm going to look for accountability as a leader that I can hold on myself. And this is the reason why a lot of women do not want to be in these relationships where a man is constantly looking at her to hold up his standards of what he thinks should and should not be before he himself is able to be a living testimony of his own standards. If you want a woman to be successful and intellectual and all these, healthy and all these beautiful, traditional things, display those characteristics for her in order to make sure that your accountability doesn't come off as you capping and trying to be in control of something that you're not in control of. Because again, accountability on other people looks like you trying to control somebody, which you do not have control over other people. But you being accountable for yourself says that you are looking for an internal source of leadership where you're saying, I know what it takes for it to build success. So I'm not going to go and attract a woman that's not successful and then hold her accountable for not being successful. No. What you're going to do in a higher vibration is actually be successful yourself and go and court a woman who is either successful on her own without you holding her accountable, or you invite her into your world and allow her to contribute to the accountability that you're able to hold on yourself, and you all grow together in your success. But again, looking for somebody to hold accountable is a sign of weakness and control. You are trying to do something for someone else. You need to be focused on your own reality. I mean, you're if you want to talk about saving yourself, then do that. Save yourself. You don't need to hold everybody else accountable. That's their job, not yours.
Do you have a question that you want to ask, Reed, before we let him respond?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily have a question in particular. I don't think I understand why. So maybe I'll just form my statement into a question because what good does it do to constantly look for things that you can point out about the lower parts of our culture, about the people who have not yet become aware, the people who have not yet made it to the whatever level of intellectual, growth or maturity you feel you've made it to. But what good does it do to pick out all of the negative things that you can pick out about a certain group of people when there's so many things out here that Black women are doing? And we're doing it very well and doing it very right for ourselves. Why would you not build us up from where we are instead of trying to beat us down from the place that we've built ourselves up to?
All right, Robert, hold on, you're on mute. Before you respond to that, I want the audience to know that we're going to actually bring you guys up in about 20 minutes. In about 20 minutes, we're going to put the link in the chat, and you guys are going to get an opportunity because there's a lot of people in there talking smack. So I'm not saying y'all talking smack like y'all not speaking the truth. Don't think that's what I mean when I say that. I'm just saying that y'all got a lot to say. So I want you guys to come up and say it in here on the stage so we can hear what you guys got to say. Bring your statistics, your opinions, your thoughts, your views, and any question you have for Reese or Robert, they'll definitely be willing to answer it. And then with that being said, Robert, the floor is yours, okay?
Okay, thank you. This this is sad, but a lot of that, the whole argument is, I mean, it's almost set up as a straw man, making things or saying things that I did not say and trying to beat that. Like, we're not looking for someone to hold accountable. Okay. It's just kind of a byproduct of what happens when you're trying to align your program or have a woman get on your program. And if it kind of gets out of alignment, you put her, you hold her accountable. But I want people to recognize what happened, right? The entire time in her whole diatribe, she was avoiding accountability. You shouldn't have to hold anyone accountable. It's accountability in yourself and redefining what accountability is. We all know what accountability is. A boss holds their employees accountable. She kind of tiptoed around that and offered a word salad. A parent holds their children accountable. Society will hold you accountable. If you speed, they will hold you accountable by giving you a speeding ticket, so on and so forth. So this is a very elementary type thing to understand. The other thing she did was that she wanted to say, oh, well, why would you want to appeal or talk about or pick on or criticize the lowest part of our community? And no, first, I didn't do that. But notice she did that. Notice when she described, a Black man and all this, she said, oh, well, if he has no ambition, he has no job, and he has no money, he's not on my level, which only reveals her hypergamy. But that's okay. Every woman's hypergamy is just the levels are different or whatever, right? But when she describes her, look at what she did. So all these masculine traits. It was like, oh, well, the circle I'm in, we do six figures and all that. I mean, I do okay myself, right? But she's in her circle. She's like, oh, well, we do six figures and we work hard and we do this and all that, right? High value women. First of all, guys, we're not looking for high value women. We're looking for high quality women. And the traits are none of which you named in your Discord. Nothing you named was found in a traditional woman. And then another thing, guys, there's going to be a lot of blurring the lines. Oh, traditional woman, modern woman, I really don't see the difference. Oh, there's a huge difference. And we're going to get to those differences. But there is a monumental difference, a chasm, okay? As big as the Grand Canyon, that there is a difference, okay? I've experienced those differences, okay? So we don't care about your education, don't care about the money that you make. Why? Because it's not going to be contributed to us if we make a family, right? So if I asked you, so my question would be to you was this. One, do you need a man? Do you need a husband? I want people to pay attention to her response, to her response. Do you need a man? Do you need a husband? And none of us will be surprised at the answer, at your response. So no, we're not doing that. We're not gonna change the narrative. We're not looking for someone to hold accountable, right? When we go to a traditional woman, there's not a whole lot of accountability to be had, right? And you say, oh, well, if someone doesn't like, again, someone who doesn't like you, go somewhere. That's exactly what we're doing. That's why you save yourself. You just go somewhere else. And we get a lot of pushback from modern women. Why are you leaving? Why stay here? We got to do so much other stuff to get a little bit of respect. Okay. Felipe, he can get respect and he didn't have that much. Well, if you don't make that much money, you shouldn't be in this person's circle or whatever. So now you got to have a certain amount of money to have a certain amount of respect. What about the regular guy? What about you want to describe the Pookie and the Ray Rays? Okay, you want to describe them and use that to make your point. Again, gentlemen, arguing from extremes. Okay, she don't give the regular guy, she don't give the common guy any. She don't use them as an example. The guy's making 50, 60, $70,000. Oh, that's no. You go all the way to the bottom. Okay, all the way to the bottom. And just like you don't claim the ratchets with twerking and all that. Guess what? We don't claim the Pookies and the Ray Rays. We don't claim that. And let me go ahead and use the stats, data, statistics, things like that. And let me go ahead and cite the sources. You can go to blackdemographics.com. You can go to the CDC. You can go to articles and peer reviews of family studies. You go to family courts. You can go to dating apps and things like that. Okay, so now you got all your sources, and you can also go to Google. You're not talking about the average guy, okay? You're using the lowest part of this whole demographic. I'm not. I'm saying traditional women versus modern women. That's it. That's across the board, regardless, okay? Regardless if it's a Keisha or anybody, okay? Traditional versus modern. That's it. And I'm repeating it so that the audience can get it, even if you want to twist it and change the narrative, okay? So that's what I'm doing. So if we look at, just for instance, family court, okay, let's just go with that. We all know, it's no news flash, that most marriages end in divorce. Okay, we know most of them, over 50% knocking on the door, 60%, but we know marriage rates are going down because men are tapping out. They're like, okay, I'm not getting married here. Forget that. I'm not getting married here. Why? Because as much as 80% of them are initiated by the woman. Now I know you're gonna make some. Well, no, you know what? I won't assume. For you, I'll say others. They want to say, oh, well, it must be because something else the man did, right? It's got to be abuse, when they got the stats on that too. It's less than 10% of the time that they get divorced because of abuse. But we have this thing called no-fault divorce, right? Because before that, you had to prove why you want to get a divorce. But after that, it's anything, okay? It's whatever. You can get divorced for anything. So now you got it 80%. Now, if we go to what you would call the high-quality woman, divorce goes up to initiated 90% of the time. Again, hypergamy. That goes up. They will initiate divorce 90% of the time. And 93% of the time, they're awarded the custody of the children. Okay, and depending on your state, you can lose half your assets, you can pay alimony, you can pay child support. What man in his logical mind would sign up for something like that or stick in the community and stay with that? When you are much maligning them and saying they're all just a bunch of Pookies and Ray Rays, when that's only about 16% on the low end and 19% on the high end, since 51% of men are single and childless, and men from 18 to 30 have not had sex in the last year, or they are virgins, and only 30% of Black men are married with children, of which 85% of those that are married to a Black woman. With that, I rest.
All right. Remember, you guys, we have people in the audience. You guys are going to be able to come up in about 13 minutes. 13 minutes. I'm going to add the link into the chat and let you guys come up and ask either question. Since we're getting closer to 13 minutes, I want to give Reese, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to what he has to say, and then we're going to definitely bring everybody up, okay?
Yeah, sure. So I am again floored at all the extrapolated statements. This is I never equated or made it seem like Black men have no value or that they're all Pookie or Ray Ray. I specifically said that the Black men in my circle are contributors regularly to the life that I'm building, and I reciprocate that to the people that are in my circle. And so if we have a difference of opinion about who is modern and who is traditional as far as women are concerned, that's fine with me. I'm not going to argue the point that people are dynamic, and a traditional woman can have modern character, because obviously humanity is full of people with dynamic characters, people with dynamic personalities. So I'm not going to reduce myself to argue about that. Um, Also, the idea that high earning women are not desirable because that does not equate to quality. This is difficult for me because when we are talking about building our community, we're talking about establishing generational wealth. We're talking about raising children who are prepared to be leaders. We're talking about children who have examples being set for them on how to survive in the world that is their home right now. And so to say that a successful woman is not valuable because of her idea of success, whatever her idea of success is. To me, a successful person is a person who is doing their life intentionally, not by force. And so I consider myself to be a successful woman because I don't report into anybody's job. I am living independently off of my knowledge and skills, and I do what I love every day. And so for me, that is what makes me a high value, high quality woman, whatever word you want to ascribe to it. And so, again, a man who is not living the version of success that I have defined for myself, it's not very likely that he's going to be able to come into my life and tell me that I should be living differently according to his standards, whatever they may be. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is I'm going to find or be attracted or attract a man who aligns with the lifestyle that I've built for myself and the intentions I have for my future. I'm not going to down a man who is not aligned with that. If I say, well, you don't have a business and you're not building generational wealth and you don't fit into my vision of the future, I'm not going to talk trash about that man. What I'm going to do is let him know he and I are not compatible for a relationship if that's what he's approached me for. If we're not on the same page, we're just not on the same page. Do I need to hold him accountable? If he's cute or fine or whatever, do I engage in a relationship with him and then hold him accountable for everything that I feel he needs to do different? That is ridiculous. It sounds stupid. And so what I would employ for anybody, what I would challenge them to do is stop pursuing relationships that are not compatible with the standards that you see for yourself in your in your life. It doesn't make sense. And I am what y'all want to get in my personal business, and I'm not going to talk about my personal life. Whether or not I'm married would never change my idea. It would never change what I'm saying or the sentiment that I have. So I'm not going to answer any questions about whether or not I'm married or not. Just know that I've been in a couple of long relationships, more than 6 or 7 years each one. There's two long-term relationships that I've been in. And the last long-term relationship that I should say the second long-term relationship I was in, it ended because of what I was just describing now. There was no blame. There was no animosity. Actually, I'm still very good friends with this person. If we were together for 7 years and we decided not to be together only because my vision for the future and what I wanted to build in this lifetime was not of concern to the person that I was with. I was not going to say he's a low value man, or was I going to down him out and all these other things that people want to, oh, he's a bum and all. No, he's a perfectly good person, perfectly good man. He just was not cut out for my future. And so I decided not to waste time trying to hold him accountable, because I was actually doing that in my relationship. Okay. I was actually doing that in that relationship. I was trying to um tell him all of the visions that I wanted to build and all the things I wanted to do with our relationship, our family. And I was just going to town telling this man how I wanted him to live according to my standards and my accountability that I was trying to hold him to. And that's when I had the very rude awakening that this is not possible. This is not something that I should waste my time doing, because this man has every right to live his life the way he wants to without me holding him accountable for some fictional idea that exists in my head, not in his. So for me to hold him accountable for something that he ain't had nothing to do with, it made no sense. But this is the way I wanted to live my life. So I had to make the decision to just let the brother know this isn't going to work for me because I'm doing something different. I'm pulling in this direction and you're pulling in that direction. We're not equally yoked. And I just had to respect that. So it doesn't matter. And for the to answer that question, yes, my future does consist of a partner. It will be the type of relationship where I don't necessarily need to hold the man accountable because he's holding himself accountable while I'm holding myself accountable, which is a much more desirable situation for me to be in personally. I'm not running behind somebody talking about accountability. If your mama raised you like my mama raised me, you're accountable for yourself. My mother did not raise me to be out here looking to other people for sources of power that exist in me. I'm not going to be in some man's face or have no man in my face trying to tell me how I should be living and this and that. If you don't like who I am, if you do not appreciate where I am going, if you do not like the way that I live my life, leave me alone. And what I'm saying is that there are several women in the Black community who will fit both of those stereotypes. Now, in my personal journey, I've met several Black men that don't fit into my idea of what the future holds for me. But does that mean I'm going to walk out on all the brothers that I see because some of them didn't work out for me? No, what I'm doing is changing the woman in the mirror because what she has to do is attract the Black man who is ready to be in the type of relationship building experience that I'm ready for. And so when that happens, then I will settle down. Yes, I will have a partner. Yes, I do need my partner. I need my man like I need air and water. And so but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to blame anyone for not being that guy. I'm not going to hold somebody accountable for something that they never told me was a part of their life or their journey. I'm not going to be looking for blame that I can place on that person to tell him that he didn't do good enough to be for me and all these other things. Listen, brother, live your life. If that's not for me, it's not for me. Am I going to blame you, dog you out, and have all these other conversations around all of social media talking about how all of these Black men ain't nothing and ain't this and that? No, I'm not going to do that. And I used to be that woman, but it took for a brother to come to me and tell me, Sharice, do you really think that all of us are like that? And I had to stop myself and go back in my memory bank. Like I said, throughout my life experience, I have learned, I have grown, I have been fed by nothing but brothers. And so I don't know if this gentleman, Robert Reed, heard me when I said that before, but I'll say it again. I know that there's an entire pool of Black men who are absolutely beautiful souls, who are absolutely leaders in their communities, who are absolutely leaders in my own life. I would never down a brother because he doesn't fit my standards. What I'm going to do again is I'm going to be around people, men and women, brothers and sisters, who align with what I believe is good for my life, what I feel fed from. And if that does not align, then you simply don't exist. I'm not going to find an Asian man, or I'm not going to go and say, "Oh, well, it's because the Black men raped me because I was sexually assaulted after being
Graped you.
Oh, okay, great to me. By I'm sorry, I forgot that note.
Right.
But having these experience with Black men, I was absolutely drugged. Something was put in my drink, and it was recorded. The whole sexual assault was recorded. This was nothing but a house full of brothers. Actually, it was two brothers in the house. I was responding to a job announcement that they had for some kind of party. And I go there and I'm in college, just as green as I want to be. I wasn't even 18 years old yet. I started college early. And I get there and these guys are, putting together the whole show. There's no Caucasian man that's ever done that to me. There is no Caucasian man that's ever, been in my face, downgrading me, degrading me, or telling me twerk something. Or I'll never forget being in college where you would go to these parties and you will see a whole bunch of men just standing around, throwing money on women and doing these things. This is coming back from our video, what was it, BET, the it uncut, BET uncut. That was our culture. That was what our men desired and wanted from women in their lives. And I mean, it wasn't like Caucasian men forced our community to do that. They didn't force a black man to call on a black woman to be that way. They didn't call on a black woman to agree. That was something that we as a team decided to do in our community. The black man desires it, the black woman fulfills it. And now we're over around here blaming each other. Blaming each other for what? These are voluntary actions that we have allowed to seep into our community, and now we're saying we don't like it, but we are the ones who have embodied it for this long. So again, what good does it do for us to sit around pointing the finger at each other for things that we have done as a collective body of members of the same community? And now we want to turn around. Oh, you guys are terrible. You you don't deserve to be here. You're not a high value. You're a low value woman. Really?
All right. So we got